Modern life is deliberately designed to keep you financially unstable, and the people who built it are counting on you never figuring that out. There's a moment that happens after you spend money impulsively. Not during it, after. Usually past midnight, when the screen dims, the food is already gone, the order is confirmed, the weekend has quietly spent itself. And for a few seconds, everything goes still. Still enough for something to surface. Not panic, just a low electrical hum underneath your life. A feeling that no matter how much comes in, something still feels slightly unresolved. Here's what's strange about that feeling. Most people who experience it aren't irresponsible. They're not bad with money. They're just living inside systems specifically engineered to make them spend. And that distinction changes everything. If you're new here, subscribe before you forget. This is exactly what this channel is about. Now, let's keep going. There's a psychological concept worth knowing. It's called the ostrich effect, the tendency to avoid information that makes us uncomfortable. People delay checking their bank account after a rough week, ignore investment portfolios when markets fall, avoid the credit card statement because uncertainty feels emotionally safer than confirmation. And here's what makes it such an effective trap. It doesn't feel like avoidance. It feels like self-protection. But here's where most financial content gets it completely wrong. The solution isn't more discipline. Most people trying to fix their finances are already running their discipline at full capacity. They're exhausted, overstimulated, making hundreds of micro decisions inside an environment designed to drain their judgment. And when you're mentally depleted, convenience stops feeling indulgent. It starts feeling deserved. That's not weakness. That's what overstimulation looks like from the inside. And it explains something that almost no financial advice addresses directly: why financial problems survive income increases. A raise arrives, the apartment upgrades, the subscriptions multiply, the lifestyle expands, usually within weeks, and emotionally, nothing changes. Still anxious, still reactive, still feeling slightly behind your own life. This happens so consistently that economists have a name for it: lifestyle inflation. But the real mechanism underneath it is almost never discussed. It's not greed. It's that the emotional trigger, that quiet, low-level instability, was never addressed. Only the income changed. The feeling stayed exactly where it was. Because financial stability was never really about income. It never was. It's about structure. There's a fundamental difference between relying on discipline to manage money and building systems that manage your behavior for you. Discipline depends on mood. Systems survive bad days. That's the insight most people don't encounter until years in. Because motivation is temporary, willpower depletes, emotions shift constantly, but a standing transfer on the first of the month doesn't care how you feel. Here's something most of us were never taught. We were shown what money is. Almost nobody showed us what money does to our psychology, how exhaustion increases spending, how loneliness increases consumption, how social comparison quietly rewires what feels necessary before you've even noticed it happening. Nobody explained that stress shortens your decision horizon, that when you're overwhelmed, your brain defaults toward the option requiring least friction, and that modern consumer infrastructure wasn't built for when you're calm and thinking clearly. It was built for when you're tired. That's the entire game. The one-click purchase, the buy now, pay later, the algorithm delivering exactly what you want at exactly the moment your resistance is lowest. The system isn't neutral. It has preferences. And its preference is that you never pause, because pausing creates awareness, and awareness changes behavior. Which is why financial change almost never begins with a strategy. It begins with a moment. Not a dramatic one, usually quiet. You finally sit down, look directly at the numbers, and realize, maybe for the first time, that the situation is actually manageable. Not fixed, just visible. And visibility changes everything. Because the opposite of financial awareness isn't ignorance, it's helplessness. And helplessness is what keeps people financially stuck for years, not lack of income, not lack of intelligence, just the absence of clear information about their own life. The boring truth: the habits that actually build financial stability are almost embarrassingly unglamorous. Automatic savings, consistent investing, fixed expenses that don't silently expand every time income rises, an emergency fund that buys something money can rarely purchase directly, breathing room, negotiating power, the ability to think clearly under pressure. None of this looks impressive from the outside. Modern culture rewards visible transformation. Financial stability grows through invisible repetition. Quiet decisions made consistently over years with no applause, no viral moment, no screenshot worth sharing, no dramatic pivot. Just fewer emergencies, less panic, more space to actually think. And eventually, people realized something they didn't expect. They were never only chasing more money. They were chasing the feeling they thought money would give them. Control, calm, space, a life that feels slightly less reactive. And what's strange, those feelings don't arrive when someone becomes wealthy. They arrive when a person stops avoiding their own life. The moment they sit with what's real, stop outsourcing their decisions to exhaustion and habit, and start treating money like something they direct, instead of something that quietly runs them. Modern life got very good at teaching people how to consume. It never taught people how to feel enough. And that changes the entire experience of money. If you made it this far, you already think differently from most people. The channel is full of videos exactly like this. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.